Hi, so welcome to, I don't know, episode 5 or 6 of me blogging my dating experiences. Um, if you haven't watched any of the previous dates, you're lucky. No, I'm joking. If you haven't watched any of the previous dates, you can catch up with them. There is no chronological order, it's just disorder throughout. Usually, what ends up happening is that I'll talk to you lot, and I always end up needing to go out. Today, I look like this because I am recording a look for a new game release. And I wanted it to look special. So I usually just do my makeup and talk. So if it's a bit distracting, sorry about it. Yeah, so basically my friend challenged me to do a dating series. Yeah, I've kind of left it for a bit. I haven't had a few dates. I've actually had two, which I need to catch you lot up on. But yeah, so now we're back. Thank you for being patient, anyone that has seen it and has been asking, and anyone that hasn't, well, welcome to chaos. Do you know what? To be fair, this date's probably the most chill, like normal date that I've had. And I've got like some questions, usually questions people have asked like from before. I think it's been a few months since the last one that I've done, but I'm trying to be like good with going back on the dates. I think we might go past 12. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, so let's get into it. All right, so this date was with someone that I'd been speaking to, like, okay, so usually my dates always end up being like someone that I've like spoken to, and I've just forgotten to like message them, and then like months later I'm like, hey, I should probably message this person because I want to go out on a date, blah blah blah. But this one, I started speaking to him, he was a little bit weird, as in like he wouldn't answer any of the questions, like answer them straight. He tried to be a little bit too philosophical, if that's the word. So I'd be like, okay, so what kind of stuff are you into? And he'd be like, oh, being into is a state of being full out. Like, there's nothing that, sir, answer the questions. Don't give me these grand risings like answers. I just wanted to know if you like to get choked out. No. No, just simple things about like hobbies and stuff. So I don't know, but in some ways I was like, it's annoying, and in other ways I'm like, okay, it's kind of interesting. I don't know. I feel like we started talking and met up pretty quickly, actually. There wasn't too much of like procrastinating and being like, oh, like talking for months on end like I usually do, and then just like accidentally meeting. I would say like he hadn't been like inappropriate or like forward or too like dirty in conversations, if that's the word. So yeah, it was alright. So what was the date like? Okay, sorry, I'm looking at the questions I've got here. Okay, so the date. I went to a bar. Okay, so here's part of why it was a bit weird. We were meant to meet around like 8 o'clock or something. We were gonna go to a bar, like this pub thing that I've worked at and I know was kind of nice. But he didn't want to do dinner. He was like, oh, yeah, we could just like have a drink or something. So I thought that was probably smart because he was thinking like, he was thinking that he might not be into it, so dinner so that he could escape, blah blah blah. Fine, fair enough. Probably thinking ahead. When I got there, like I don't know, I always feel like super nervous. Also, I always have inappropriate conversations with my taxi drivers beforehand, like telling them about the date and like being nervous or whatever. And like this time my taxi driver did not reassure me. He was like, yeah, where you're going is like, you know, the pub is just like in the middle of nowhere. If it's horrible, you just have to sit in it. And I was like, sir, what's the reason? So I was thinking like, I don't know. It was okay though. So like I get to like the pub, and he's like sitting there. I hate that he did this thing. So there was a load of tables. It wasn't packed. It's not too far from my house, so it's not like the busiest place. It's not like it was in Central. So it wasn't like packed. There was loads of seats. There's literally 2 of us. He could have sat on any table, but he gets like, he sits on the grand table. And when I say like it's a grand table, it's one of those tables that you have like, maybe you could seat a family of like, I don't know, like 10 or 12. I do not understand why he decided that this is the table that we're going to sit at. And then awkwardly, like the table's near like a wall. I've obviously got like massive bunda. So then like I had to like scoot into him. I'm like coming clumsy. The whole time he's just like looking at me intensely. And I'm like, okay, well, gosh. Right, okay. So then that's kind of like putting me off a little bit. And I'm like, hi. He was like, oh, I saw you coming in. I was like, well, yeah, obviously. And he was like, oh, I would say. And this made me feel good because I always get worried about like people being like, oh, you're actually a troll in person. But he was like, oh, your pictures don't do you justice. You look so much better in person. And I was like, thanks, babes. And he was, and it was, there was just like this quiet, and I didn't realize that he was waiting for me to say the same because I couldn't. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you. Personally, okay, he looked all right in person. He looked all right in person, but I don't know. Maybe it's because I felt a bit awkward. I wouldn't have said that he looked better in person. He looked a lot older. He was 42, which isn't old by any means, but is older. I think the oldest person that I've dated since I started doing this challenge. And he dressed like he was going to be that he was a football coach for kids that had escaped the set 5 to prison timeline. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, he just wasn't doing it for me. He looked like he could have been a character on Rentford Rejects. If you haven't seen that, you missed out on prime piece of childhood. If you have, I hope that makes sense to you. So I was like, whatever, you know, it's cool. He starts doing weird shit, like as in the waitress is coming, he's eyeing up the waitress, and then he looks at like the person that's like the waiter that's serving us, and I guess the waiter kept like I don't know, I'm a smiley person, so when they were serving me I was like smiled and I was like thank you, and then he like looks at me and he was like, oh, yeah, I can't imagine you with that guy. And I was like, wait, what do you mean? And he was like, you know, sometimes you look at people and you can imagine like them with that person. Like, I can't imagine you with with that man. Bro, where has this come from? So I was like, all right, I say random things sometimes. I come up with random thoughts. So maybe this is just him like feeling comfortable to do that. And then he kept on going on about it. There was someone else that was there and he was like, now this I would say maybe is more your type, but I can't imagine that would be. Would you say that's your type? Right, okay. So then like the waitress comes back again. He's looking at her to the point that she's uncomfortable and she's doing like this panicked like smile at me like, get your mans, babes. I at this point I'm like, okay, whatever. So we have a drink, and I'm starving, so I was like, hey, I'm kind of hungry, so I might head out soon. And he was like, oh, you're having a terrible time? I wasn't having a terrible time. It was like nothing. It was like being like with a work colleague or whatever. I felt like he was probably not feeling the vibe between us as well. By the way, this is going to be like a cyberpunk look, so just ignore everything about what's happening. When it's done, hopefully it'll make sense and it'll look good. So I was like, yeah, I just wanted to go, so I thought he would take that as like a good thing. And I was like, he was like, you can just order food here. I was like, well, you've eaten, so what's the point of doing that? And he was like, I'll just watch you eat. And I said, of course, like, no, that's weird. And he was like, no, honestly, I don't mind. So I order my chips, and I ordered chips and like, I think bread and hummus or something like that. So nothing too heavy, because I wanted to get a McDonald's chicken Big Mac on the way back home. I went to the toilet. I came back. This man had done off my chips. I'm now thinking it's not that he didn't want to eat with me. I think he just didn't have money. I don't know. Because I don't understand, like, I was still hungry. I don't understand why he did that. He said he didn't want the food. And I went to the toilet and he ate all of the chips. Not like, it wasn't like he ate some of them. He ate all of the chips and then left me the salt crumbs underneath it. So already I'm like, okay, this is weird behavior. So anyway, he's talking and he did this thing that my ex used to do. And I understand why my ex did it. My ex he didn't tell me at the time, but he was a virgin and he directed like movies. He made his like own little movies. So everything in his life is based on being dramatic and like, you know, movies. So when we went for our first kiss, this is like my ex, by the way. When we went for our first kiss, he did this thing that gave me the absolute ick, which was throw his bag down dramatically and then like do like this sweeping thing that happens in like movies, and like go in for this kiss, like the grand crescendo, but also his mouth was really slobbery. So I was just like, hi, I need this to never happen again. And this guy did something similar because he was going on like he was lost in my eyes. First of all, you're not, because my eyelashes are coming off and leaking into my eyes, so I know that's not true. He would like talk and then he'd pretend that he'd got lost in the conversation, like the conversation had stopped because he was enamored with my beauty. Like he'd just be talking like, you know, because yeah, hello. He was like, sorry, I got distracted. Bro, don't do this. Don't do this. This is embarrassing for all of us. Don't do this. So I guess like he's like, am I awkward? And I was like, no, I thought that this was confidence, but I now realize like he was shy because obviously like he didn't give off that vibe. He was like 6'3". He's really built and he does like sports like management or whatever, so he was just kind of exuding confidence, like I don't know, in that way that he seemed very confident physically. So I didn't realize what he was doing was just his terrible awkwardness. So then I'm laughing because it still gives me the ick. So he goes in for a kiss. There was no reason for him to do this. He goes in for a kiss by going like, oi. He's there. Oh, by the way, I told you, like, he's seated us in a really weird way. So the table is here. We're looking out to the restaurant. It's like Henry VIII's table. There's no reason for us to be like that. There's like 6 seats across, like on a side. He's decided to sit right here beside me. So I have to physically turn my body. But because I'm also shy and a bit awkward as well, I'm looking forward. So he's kind of looking at my face, which is unfortunate for him because he's definitely just getting double chin side. So then he says, oi. I turn around and he goes in for a kiss. When I tell you I cackled in this man's face, like I don't know what he thought was going to happen or what he thought the vibe was going to be, but it was so left field and so awkward that I screamed. I was like, no, sir, no. So then, like, obviously that made it awkward and I felt bad. And he was like, oh, have I ruined it? And I was like, no, you're fine. Just, yeah, no, don't. And he was like, so does that mean that I could go? I was like, you shouldn't. And I thought he would get the hint. He goes in for a kiss again. And he's like, oi, Why would you call? Am I a taxi? I didn't get the seduction technique. I didn't get what the aim was with this. I didn't understand why he would do this. So I was like, look, let's just relax. Let's just talk, whatever. By this point, I'm bloody starving. So I just want to like head out. So I'm like, we need to start wrapping it up. And I think the fight, which is ironic when I tell you about the next day, I think the thing that put me off was that, like, this man was 42. And then he was talking about types and, like, what my type is, what his type is, blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, do you have an age preference? And I was like, I kind of like someone that's just mature, over, like in their 30s, you know. And he was like, okay, cool. I don't think that there should be a restriction on age. I was like, whoa there, L. Kelly. Let's talk about it. He was like, no, obviously, like in the sense of being legal. And I was like, right, okay, please expand. Because whenever people say stuff like this, I always know it's going to be a wild take. But he was like, oh, yeah, because I went on a date with a 20-year-old. And, you know, like, sometimes a 20-year-old can be, like, the same level of maturity as, like, you know, me. At this point, you know, I'm already packing up my pum-pum. Like, there's no fanny flutters, and this is a wild take for him to be going with. So I was like, right, okay. And he was just like, oh, have I put you off? You seem like, I think I just need to conceal, like, my facial expressions a bit better, because I was definitely like, ew. Cool, whatever you're into, fine. Like, be blessed, you know, hashtag live life, love. But that's not for me, dog. Like, I don't understand. I think that as a 42-year-old man, like, you dating a 20-year-old and being like you're on the same level is wild. That's my own way of thinking. Everyone else do live your best life or whatever. But I was like, okay, cool. And every time someone does this, they always follow it up like, you look really young for your age. And I was like, he was like you look like a very young 20. First of all, don't lie to me, boy. For I know damn well I don't look like a young 20. But second of all, like, you thinking that's a compliment and saying that after, like, saying that you would date a 20-year-old is giving me like, hi, you look, I don't know, it was just weird. And plus, because he's I think it was like 6'2", 6'3", and I'm like 5'1", 5'2", and he was like, oh, you're a great height. For what? For what? I mean, I don't mind the height difference. I mean, I kind of like the height, but the way he was making it was creepy. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know. So that was already weird. And then he started talking about his kids. And I was like, oh crap, I've kind of forgot that he had kids. And then he started talking about, like, his ex and saying that his ex was insane. And anytime a man tells me that their ex is insane and can't back it up with solid reasons of why, I'm 100% sure that they were the problem. Like, he's like, yeah, because the thing is that his ex has got the kids, right? So, and you're saying that she's a good mum. So how crazy can she be? What did you do? And you're not giving me solid reasons of what's happened. So yeah, I was like, it's time to wrap this up. I was ready to go. Oh God. And this is where it becomes a problem. So I head out to leave, yeah? And we're outside. I'm going. He goes in for a kiss. It's so awkward, and I don't know, I guess, I don't know why I do awkward things for politeness. We kissed. I know you're thinking, Cass, how did this happen? You weren't feeling him. How did this happen? I can't explain. Anyway, it was an unnecessary kiss. Like, you know, I thought it was going to be like, hey, your Uber's outside, because I made sure to get my Uber so we're not, like, standing out there too long. I thought it was going to be like, he bends down from his, like, green giant height and then comes in for, like, a kiss, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, it was so lovely to meet you, whilst I'm deleting his number. But he goes in for, like, full on, like, grabbing up my face, like, hands all over my neck and stuff. Like, if this had been anyone else, or maybe Idris, I would be like, check me. But with him, I was just like, sir, can you please collect your carrier bags from the aisle and leave? So I was like, oh my god, this is so hot. My cab's here, so gotta go. Get home, and he was like, I know this is gonna sound really weird, but like literally I've never felt skin like yours. You feel like amazing, you're so soft, you're so cute, oh my gosh, blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, no, it sounds like you're gonna be a trafficker, babes. So I'm alright, I'm like cash. That obviously slows down. I can tell when people aren't feeling you. Like, I always hate it when people are like, oh yeah, I've just been like doing this and whatever. Like, when someone's not feeling you anymore, you can just kind of like, you already know. Why is this squirting? And you're giving out liquid. All right, we're going to come back to you. So, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't there. The vibe wasn't there. Right. So 2 days later, he messages me and he's like, hey, and he writes me this really long message. I wish I had my phone. And it was basically like 2 paragraphs about like, hey, think you're fantastic, you're really good, but I have to be honest with you, I'm gonna struggle to have time to meet up with you because like I'm trying to like sort out stuff with my like the kids and stuff. I had my birthday the other day and it was the worst birthday that I ever had. Like, it felt horrible. And I've got all this stuff to like sort out. I was surprised that he left this like such a long message because bruh, this could have been like a tweet. Like, it's cool, we don't have to like meet up again, it's okay. And he was like, oh no, I'm not saying that, like I do want to meet up, it's just that if we met up I wouldn't be sure of like when we would meet up next, and you deserve to do like someone to give you all the attention. I was like, cool, if you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. So I was like, all right, no worries, it was really lovely. And that should have been it. Like, wait, the job is done. Yeah, we've had that conversation. And then he messages back again immediately, like, because I really want to see you, but I just know like if I see you, I'm gonna want to put my hands all over you, and then after I do that, I don't know if we're gonna see each other again. I was like, bro, are you trying to tell me that you wanna bang but you don't want to commit, and you're trying to find a creative way to do that? I'm not gonna entertain this. So I was like, yeah, no, that's fine, don't worry, we don't have to meet, no pressure, hope things work out. And he's like, you are he was like, as well as being like beautiful on the outside, you are beautiful on the inside. I'm so lucky to have spoken to you. I don't understand why it was such a long departure. Like, this goodbye text is going on for paragraphs, and I'm just like, yeah, cool, thanks. I'm not angry, I'm not annoyed. Like, I wasn't feeling it. It sounds like he wasn't as well. So tell me why after all of this, I was like, you're so sweet with the compliments, thank you, take care. Cool, we gyrate. 2 days later, I get a message. That was a test to see if you were into me. You didn't care about that. You didn't say anything. When I tell you that I made sure that he actively saw that I'd read his messages, and then I deleted him, because what was the reason? Who are you trying to test? For what? Like, I don't... The arrogance, and this is what I'm saying, the arrogance of some of these men is enough to put you off dating. But yeah, that was the outcome with him. I didn't speak to him after that, but he kept like reacting with my like Instagram stories, and I was like, yeah, cool, give me the views, but I'm not really feeling you. And that was that. That was my first date back after a while. Nearly put me off again, but yeah. Oh God, I forgot to check with the questions. Was I feeling him? I hope the answer was clear from this. No, I was not. He wasn't my type. Oh, do you know what? It's hard to say. He wasn't my type in the way that, like, he had certain attributes, like he was tall, obviously, like he was very good looking, like people were like looking at him. There wasn't anything wrong with him, but I don't know, he gave me the ick so much that I couldn't see him as good looking. And yeah, he was strange. And also, I really can't, I do not have the energy to deal with like someone that hasn't got their home in order, because what was the reason? So yeah, would I date him again? Absolutely not. Would I speak to him again? I deleted his number on the way back. I hope that answers the question. And yeah, so I will be back with my second date. Don't know if I'm going to record that now. Probably not. I'll do that later, because that one I'm going to need alcohol to go through, because that was a stressful, traumatic ass date. I'll show you the look when I finish. And thank you for listening to my date stories. I will see you for the next one. Oh yeah, check out the others. All right, bye.